Today's short video is going to be on how to travel on a budget with a family. Now, anyone could probably get some tips from this, but this is going to be specifically for if you're traveling with a family or a group of people and you need to keep the costs down. So we've had comments like, wow, there must be a huge cash flow in your house for how much you get to travel. And no. While we're not in a bad position, we actually can travel because it's really important to us. And so we do a couple things to make that possible. So my first tip starts before the actual travel, and that is budgeting for it. We almost never go out to eat, almost never go out to the movies. And if you're someone who really loves to go out to eat and go to the movies, no judgment. But what I'm simply trying to say is if you want to be able to save up for that vacation, you might be surprised what 6 months of not going out to eat or to the movies could provide for you to use for travel. Number 2, be flexible in getting there. Now, flying can be expensive no matter what. And if you are flying with your kids, I'm not going to be the one here to tell you how to get the cheapest ticket, but I will say this. Be open to destinations and perhaps choose multiple destinations. And this is what I mean by being open to destinations. First of all, I've been as impressed with Sylvania as I have with Paris, France. So sometimes going to the more obscure place is not going to be a nick in your vacation at all. Sometimes these really cool places that we have gone is because we took a really long layover somewhere. So one time my husband and I had saved up our pennies to go to Spain. This is back when we lived in the US. And we were able to find this ticket that had like a 36-hour layover in the Netherlands. So we got to stop and enjoy the Netherlands for an entire day and then still get to our destination. Another thing that I mean by be open to destinations is if you are open to anywhere in Europe and find the cheapest ticket to some certain spot, not only could you stop and enjoy that unexpected stop for a couple days and get to take all that in, but we have a pretty great train system over here in Europe that's not too expensive. So sometimes it's going to be cheaper for you to book a ticket to that obscure spot and take a train to where you really wanted to go for your final destination and use that not only to see two different things, but also to keep the costs low. And sometimes with a lot of kids like we have, even the train does get pricey, so consider renting. It's not too hard to get a temporary driver's license, and renting lets you have all the ease in the world when it comes to travel. If you're open to different driving situations, it may be cheaper for you to rent that car and be able to take it everywhere versus all the public transportation costs. Now for where to stay. I'm a big advocate for Airbnb when you're traveling with a family. I have looked at hotels, I have looked at different things, and just straight up, the best deals that I find are always on Airbnb. We book spots in Venice, in Rome, and so many different places for less than $100 a night. There's no way you're gonna stay in a hotel for that amount. And that little kitchenette is going to help you with my next tip, which is food. Of course, we do eat out when we go places because you don't go to Florence, Italy, and then not eat out. But one of the things we do to at least keep the food costs down, we always pack things for breakfast and lunch so we don't have to eat out those meals. And if you are flying in, it's still okay. Find the local market. Go ahead and buy your stuff for your breakfast and your lunches. And right there, you've seriously cut down your cost in food. And I'll get cereals and croissants and little easy things for breakfast. I'm not talking about cooking up omelets or doing fancy things. If we're having a longer vacation, another thing we like to do, like when we were in Italy, is we would go into the local market, buy local meats and cheeses and all the different things for a charcuterie board. And then we would sit out on the Airbnb balcony and have this glorious local charcuterie board. And honestly, I enjoyed that almost as much as some of the restaurants we went to. There's always fun snacks wherever you go and other things to keep your belly full until dinner. Now, this is more of a parenting one, and this is us, but it's become normal, and I think it works really well. When it comes to food, we always provide all the different meals. However, our kids know extra treats like gelato is on them. So they save up their pennies, they have their spending money, and then they can spend it on those extra treats, and it keeps our costs down. Now, does that make us bad parents? That's your choice. I think it makes us teach them responsibility with money, but to each his own. Finally, anywhere that we go, we usually pick one thing we really want to spend some of our money on. And for the rest, we look up free or cheap things to do in a specific area. We have gone multiple cities and we have seen so much beautiful stuff while spending a very little amount of money. Now, we do love the outdoors, and usually the outdoors is free or as cheap as parking. Regardless of where you go, you do not have to go into every museum and every castle. Really budget out what you actually want to spend your money on. But if you are going to go into a city and you really want to see all the museums and all the different castles and things, remember that most cities have a city pass. And you can purchase a city pass, which gives you access to all of these, often a skip the line access. So if that's what you want, don't forget to look up the city pass. So those are a few ways that we travel on a budget. I am always very interested in how to do a better job staying on a budget. So I would actually love to hear from you. If you are a budget traveler, please tell me some of the ways that you keep the costs down. Again, like I said before, no judgment to any way that anyone travels or chooses to do things. This is just a few ideas to make it more accessible for you and your family. So happy travels. See you in the next video. We would be so grateful if you would like and subscribe and do all the cool kid things to our channel. And I just showed my age right there.